And a lot of other landlords, they actually laughed at me. Goes, hey, yo, 3 cents, Kasey, 3 cents. I'm like, yo, like, you should know that. As a landlord, you should follow the proper procedures, right? I can't say it's 50 cents or $1. Unfortunately, I have to send this out, but now we're gonna follow up with phone calls. I had actually about 12 barbecue like grills. Have you guys ever seen 12 barbecue tables like chained up to a fence? I politely told them to remove it. They swore at me and give me the bad names and give me the C word. Go back home, Chinaman. Your net loss will be about $3 million in resale value. Yo, dude, that's crazy. Check back in a year on this post and let's talk. Yo, dude, I'm talking to you right now. It's kind of disgusting to hear them say that it's beautiful or perfect when they're talking about like exploiting people to the max and then calling owning a building part of a portfolio. Yeah, right. What kind of artist is that? No, portfolio, there's two meanings to portfolio. It's not just an artist. Whenever I email or text people, they say Kasey Wong. Oh, it's a girl, Kasey. Oh, Chinese, Wong. Oh my goodness, hot Asian girl. I'm not a hot Asian girl, man.
What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here. And by popular demand, we're back with more Kasey Wong because you guys have been loving the previous compilation videos we've done. We actually had a little bit more footage. We thought, why not bring it all together? So this compilation is really focused on after Kasey closed on that apartment building in St. Catharines, some of the controversy around the 3-cent eviction, and then just showing us how Kasey approaches renovating one of his apartment units. I know you guys are going to love it, so smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, and let's jump into it. Kasey Wong exposed. Well, sort of. Actually, really not really at all. But I noticed recently, all of a sudden, I started getting some really heated comments about Kasey Wong on some of our videos, and that actually led to a newspaper article that came out that really displayed just one side of an argument, and that argument was landlord versus tenant. Number one, the moment we start framing these things as arguments and one versus the other, we're already setting ourselves up for failure. So in today's video, Kasey's going to share his perspective in a very, calm demeanor and just a logical thought process. So one, I really appreciate Kasey for taking the time and the energy to make this video. Most landlords, they would just want a turtle once they have a newspaper or the general media going after them. So first of all, hats off to Kasey because this really is a class act, being willing to have this conversation in a calm and just concise manner. So one, thank you, Kasey, so much. Number two, you guys, this is really important for us as landlords to understand that, especially in this day of social media and the narrative that just the media and like society in general is painting about landlords, we're being positioned as evil, greedy, like we're like the worst thing ever according to some people. So that's why I think it's really important that we have these open dialogues where we try and keep our emotions in check. And one, I just want to thank Kasey for doing so. But let's dive into today's video where Kasey's going to share his perspective on the recent kind of scandal or whatever you want to call it that occurred over 3 cents. What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here in St. Catharines, and we're here with Kasey Wong, and we've got a special video today. We're really going to be kind of just exposing both sides of the conversation as far as landlord and tenants. There's been a lot of stuff going on in the news lately, and so Kasey was kind enough to agree to make a video and just kind of discuss his perspective and really share the full story behind what's going on here in St. Catharines. So let's dive into it.
Excellent.
How's it going, Kasey?
Good, how you doing?
Good.
So we bought this building in August 2019. This is about the same time where OREC was happening, 2019. Yeah. We put an offer in at that weekend.
You talked about it on stage.
Exactly. Yeah. I talked about this on stage.
Perfect. Just do that, Kasey. What are the key financial metrics you focus on when starting the analysis of a potential property? So when a property gets on your radar, are there some rules of thumb, or how do you go about determining whether it's worth digging deeper into?
What I first look at is where it's located, obviously. So there's certain markets that we have researched that we don't go into.
So would you guys mind sharing with the audience maybe a deal you recently looked at, whether it's something you purchased or decide not to purchase, and just tell us
why you decide to either buy that deal or not buy it?
We're actually analyzing when we're driving here, so very current.
So I already put in an offer. He knows what we're looking for, and I trust when he says, good deal, lock it down.
Don't give specifics. Look at all these competitions. Basically closed in August. So we're August, right? Like
Yep.
September, October, November, December, January, February. So we're about 6 months in right now. So a lot of the stuff that when we get this building, there's some deferred maintenance, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. Okay, we just have to make sure that we have cash to be able to deploy to fix these issues. Okay, so we get this engineer. I always say PN, just a professional engineer. So this professional engineer, let's watch this car here. I want to kill. So a professional engineer will give you this report, and this report essentially will tell you exactly what OBC, which is Ontario Building Code's requirements are, okay? And I have to make sure that it's done and done properly and so on and so forth. So top line basically is always going to be safety and safety of residents and safety of the building and the condition of the building. So let's take a look at the building right now. What we did was the balcony rails. Some of the balcony rails was literally about 2 to about 5 centimeters off on the top rail, so it doesn't meet code. It's short by 2 millimeters. This is 2 millimeters, okay? I don't know how many threads of hair that is, or 5 millimeters, okay? So it doesn't comply. It's a pass or fail, and I see that as it's a fail, okay? If you're less than that certain amount, whatever that requirements are, if it's 2 millimeters off, it's off, okay? So we can talk about pass or fail in different regards, but a 2 millimeters may not seem much because it's a balcony. A 2 millimeter on a span of 1 kilometer, because it's a bridge, is material, okay? So what I see is that, hey, you may say is immaterial. Engineers say 2 millimeters is off, it's 2 millimeters off, it doesn't pass. So I have to make sure that it's safe. So I put a top rail on top of the balcony, and then I had to weld that on, get my welder to come in and weld it on and repaint everything. Got the fascia done on the top balcony, put that up, okay? We still haven't changed the sign. Sign is, you know, it's important, but these things are crucial. So there's only so much we can tackle all at once, and this is like quote unquote life safety, right? So balcony, make sure that that's done. Some of the tuck pointing around the building has to get done. Repainted the balconies, okay? And I did mention about the balcony on top. So this coating on top, I always put elastomeric paint. It's a rubberized paint, so we put that in the summertime. It expands and it contracts, so we put it on the top surface. You don't paint the bottom surface because you want it to breathe. It's concrete, it's porous, it's going to absorb water. So you make sure that the top, the coat is good, and that's like sort of waterproof. Okay, so that's done. Recaulked all the windows and all the doors. So that too was on the list from the engineer. Make sure all the downspouts are away from the building. If it's not, put some gravel, make sure it's leveled and basically flowing away from the building. Let's keep on walking. Some of these signs, some of these tenants had issues with parking. We, as landlords, as property managers, have to know that anything on the ground, it doesn't follow code, okay? You can't say that, okay, well, I have a handicap sign, a handicap spot, it's right here on the floor. Here in Ontario, on a light dusting of snow, it becomes non-handicap right away. Right? So we have to know, as a property manager, you have to take a look at your bylaws. It has to be basically on a post, on a sign that's visible. I think it's about 5 feet or 5.5 feet, and it has to be in front of that parking spot. So nothing on the ground. It's easy for people just to paint it on and say that, okay, well, I have a handicap spot. No, it doesn't comply with bylaw. So you have to understand what works and what doesn't, what complies with bylaw and what doesn't. Okay, so these are the stuff that, you know, in my head I have a whole bunch of useless information, but you have to take a look at the parking and parking signs and things like that. So that's going to be done. There's some potholes we're going to get done as well. I already contacted the asphalt company. A lot of the trees, we pushed them all back. So you take a look at, let's take a look over here. So some of these trees, we actually cut all these limbs to push it away from the building. I know we talked about here at the back. I went up the ladder onto the roof, and yeah, the roof is not great, but it's not something that you're not going to invest in just because it's a roof. Yes, it's a 8,000 square feet roof, $10. That's $80,000. Okay, is it going to, you know, puncture like thousands of holes? No, it's not. there was some issues with the with some of the leaks. So what happens is usually near the breathers where the stacks are. These are for the toilets. So you know what? Get your roofing company. I use Santos from Garcia Roofing. He came from Kitchener. He comes over here, gets it done. Very, very simple. He'll see the perforations, using where the stacks are, and then just whatever, he caulks it and does it properly. And I don't hear an issue. Okay, so we have to, yes, there's gonna be issues. I'm not buying a brand new building. There's always gonna be issues. Nothing is gonna be perfect in your life. Nothing will be, and nothing will be in the future, ever, okay? But it's nothing that you can't overcome. You can't put that money in and make it right. So looking at these trees, we push it all back. I got Davey trees to essentially making sure that I'm not killing these trees. But if you take a look, the tree line is now away from the building, okay? So if you see all that, you can see it just pushed away, not killing the trees. I can go straight up to my property line and cut just straight up vertically and push all those trees that's not on my property away from my property line, and then get away from my building so it doesn't create any kind of damage. Likewise over here, same thing. Push it all away from the building so it's nice and clean. So let's walk over here. Parking, we're going to be essentially on the tenants, not necessarily on the tenants, it's not on the lease. And they say that they had parking or whatever. You're gonna be taking a look at the lease and saying that if people have parking, they should be paying for it, okay? Because I have some derelict cars here that has flat tires and so on and so forth that, you know, people are not paying for, or they just want to store their car. I say it's junk, but we're gonna have to get that towed. Let's talk about this back piece of land over here, because I know this is a huge asset. And it was like, it's being underutilized, right? So this little piece of land came with this property. This little piece of land, what they were using this for was actually like a garden. So it was a community garden / playground. Now you as a property manager / owner / whatever, you are liable for everything. Okay, I had some tenants that didn't like each other. They're gardening together and they didn't like each other for whatever reason. I don't want to get in the history of whatever people have and had going forward and in the past, but you have to understand that you as a landlord, you're liable for this. So let's say a little old lady who's 95 years old who walks out, trips, breaks their hip, who's liable for it? Somebody who doesn't like one another, okay, you know, let's get a little bit of rat poison. Put on this little cherry tomato. Little boy runs up and goes, oh my goodness, it's a cherry tomato. I'm gonna pick it up and eat it. Who's liable for that, right? Somebody sits on one of those lawn chairs. There were lawn chairs there. They sit on it and they fall through. And again, somebody breaks their hips or breaks their legs or something like that, falls through a hole that somebody dug up, because now you have loose soil and somebody dug up because they want to plant something, and somebody falls and breaks their leg or breaks their ankle. You have to understand that you have to take a look at that liability first. So you as a landlord, as a property owner, you have to take a look at everywhere. Once they close a door, okay, everything that's common area, you're responsible for that. Okay, you as a landlord, you have to be aware of that. Okay, slip and falls. I had a slip and fall at 141 Linwood. The superintendent, we captured this person on video saying that, please don't go out. It was an ice. This is 2 years ago. It was iced up. It was literally a centimeter thick of clear black ice. Okay, we said don't go out there. She still went out there. It's funny because we got her on tape, got her on video. She had a blanket with her. For whatever reason, she was throwing out the garbage with a blanket. So she slipped and fell. She broke her wrist. She sued us. All right. My insurance company called me. Do you have everything on tape? Do you have the log sheets from the snow removal company? Do you have a log sheet for your superintendent that they was actually salting and shoveling, so on and so forth, for the walkway? Yes, we do. They get that. The insurance company says, oh wow, that's unusual for a landlord, for a property manager to have. Well, I've been in this industry so on and so forth, and it's like I know my duties, right? So I'm telling you guys as property owners, you have to do the same. So you have to shovel the snow, you have to salt the walkways, things like that. You have to take a look at liability. If you think it's going to be dangerous, then it probably would be. It will be. Okay, maybe it didn't happen before. Somebody didn't fall through a picnic table or a bench or things like that, but it could happen. Okay, one tenant could do something to another tenant, and who's responsible for it? You are, as a landlord, as a property manager. Okay, so this, we haven't stabilized it. This has been 6 months, but there's a lot of issues. Let's go back to my Hyman building. We're talking about buildings when we take over. I had actually about 12 barbecue like grills. Have you guys ever seen 12 barbecue tables like chained up to a fence on a property that, you know, the property manager wasn't there every day? It happens, okay? So what do? You politely tell them to remove it. I politely told them to remove it. They swore at me and give me the bad names and give me the C word. We'll tell, like Matt and I, we talked about that. So we got the little C word, the FBC. Matt will, so it's effing, bitchin', chink. That's what it was, okay? Go back home, Chinaman. That's what it was. You know what? It's okay. You have to have a thick skin. I had to remove these grills, okay? These barbecue grills. I had 12 of them, right? Chained up. Imagine having a 200-unit condominium or apartment building in downtown Toronto. You had 200 barbecue grills. Crazy. Crazy what people will do if you're not watching, right? You as a property owner, you're responsible for your property, and it could happen because I had a barbecue little pit bonfire at my Elgin building because students want to have, you know, on whatever, I think it was St. Patrick's Day or something like that, and it's like, yo, yay, green beer and bonfires, whatever. It's gonna happen. You think it might happen, it will happen, trust me. So let's walk. Great little piece of property here. We're going to sever this piece of land and build affordable housing, and we talked about that as well. So we're investing back into community. I'm not here investing offshore somewhere. I'm investing back into our community. I'm actually Canadian, if you can believe that, right? Some people say, hey, yo, dude, go back home. I'm like, Scarborough, right? Like, yeah, I don't look like I'm Canadian because I'm not white. I am Chinese, and I speak English. I speak broken Cantonese. I went back to Hong Kong. They don't even accept me as being Chinese because, like, I look Chinese, but I don't speak Chinese. I don't speak Cantonese. Then people don't accept me here, not here, but I'm saying, you know, everywhere, because I look Chinese, but I don't even look Canadian now, right? So I don't even know where I belong. I made fun of myself before. I was like, I'm like a dog that doesn't bark, right? Can you believe that? Like, I look Chinese, but I don't speak Chinese. I don't even look Canadian, but I sound like I'm Canadian on the phone. But here's a little tidbit, here's a little joke. It's like, whenever I email or text people, they say Kasey Wong. Oh, it's a girl, Kasey. Oh, Chinese, Wong. Oh my goodness, hot Asian girl. I'm not a hot Asian girl, man. So everybody has this, you know, it's like, they wanna see where you come from or whatever. You know what? I'm really Canadian. I told Matt I want to become a cop, right? One time, I went through the police force and so on and so forth, like through those, you know, those stages of testing. But I didn't pass the last interview for whatever reason. But it was only that one shot that I was gonna do it. I got my eyes done, laser eyed and all that. Now I'm getting older and now I need glasses. But that's just me, okay? But I really would like to invest back into the country, back here in Ontario, and this is where I grew up, right? In Ontario. So let's talk a little bit more. Let's talk a little bit more about the bad news. Okay, there's always going to be issues about, you know, the N4s, 3 cents, things like that. So let's go inside because it's cold. It's cold here. We're in Canada. We're in February right now, just after Family Day. Matt doesn't have a jacket. It's crazy.
I threw mine out because I'm tired of winter.
He's tired of winter, but crazy. So what we're doing here is that we're doing an intercom system for the building. This actually, when we took over this building, this didn't work. Got quotes for it. And then this is going to be installed. So it's a new type of intercom system where essentially somebody buzzes in here, they can open the door anywhere. So on your phone, they press number 9 and bang, they can open this door. It just has to get connected, and we do that. Some of the railings, this didn't comply, okay? So this is all new. I installed this. I spent, I believe, $4,000 per railing times 3 stories, okay? Sorry, yeah, three levels or 3 stories in this building. This is a 2.5-story walk-up. So I had to do it all, rip this all out because it didn't comply with OBC. So what this means is that if these pickets are a certain distance, okay, it's 100 millimeters. I think the code before was about 3.5 or 4 inches. So we're using the metric okay, system. So even if it's a 98 mils, it doesn't comply. So it's a pass or fail. So we have to understand as property owners that if it doesn't comply, it doesn't comply. We have to do it right. I can put basically another cross beam here and increase this, and then I can put another one here to lessen the distance between the pickets or the spindles. But what this means is that it just doesn't look good, right? It's almost the same cost. So it comes down to, it's like $4,000. I'm gonna be adding all these. It looks weird, right? It doesn't look good. So I'd rather just rip it out. I spent the $4,000 per, so it's about $12,000. Some of these buildings, it's older. So these are built in 1960s and 70s. We're on the second floor here. So if you take a look here, a lot of the lights, it was too dim. So the previous owner put Home Depot lights in here, and yeah, it saves money. They call it candlestick. What this means is that illumination, a certain amount of illumination. I don't remember the specific value. It's like a 50 candlestick or something like that. It's illumination of the hallway. And if it's too dim, it doesn't meet code, right? So we put in $7,000 worth of lights here, and the hallway's times 3, right? So all these lights and all the exterior lights as well, okay, so that people can see. So we do put the money back into the buildings, back into the community. So it's not just, hey, you're a slumlord. No. You have to run this building properly, and you have to know where to put the money in. Sometimes it's, you know it's going to be like a lost cause in a way that it's a sunk cost in accounting terms. You basically put the money in, but you don't see it, right? Because it doesn't generate NOI. Yes, it doesn't, but you have to do it anyways because it's a code issue. It's a building code issue, and I understand I'm a little bit too much to the T in a way that I'm a pass-fail type of guy. Like even 3 cents, like I'll talk about that later, but you as a property owner, you have to follow certain guidelines, certain rules set out by industry or set out by the municipality. So it could be bylaw for parking, could be illumination candlestick, it could be codes for balcony rails, 3 millimeters, 2 millimeters, or 5 millimeters, anything like that. You have guidelines and you have codes that you have to follow, and you have to follow it. Bottom line, if you are a property owner, you follow these, because this is just the right thing to do, and these could potentially hurt somebody, okay? Somebody could slip and fall. Somebody can't see, and I need that illumination because I'm older, okay? So us, as property owners, I'm telling you guys one thing is that you guys do things properly and do things the right way, because a 10-year-old girl might say, hey, Daddy, did you do something wrong? And I have to answer to that. I have to answer to my daughter and say, no, Courtney, I didn't do anything wrong, right? But they want to show it in a light that I did do something wrong, but I did not do anything wrong under the guidelines of certain guidelines from the government. Okay, so let's go and talk a little bit more. So making sure that regular maintenance repairs are done properly. Everything has to. You have to get your people in here, right? I'm walking in this building, I go through the wrong way every time. Put this on the camera because I don't remember things anymore. You're walking through the building and I don't know what direction I'm going sometimes, right? It's okay, you make a mistake, you own up to it, and you move on. There's nothing wrong with making a mistake, doing something wrong and correcting it. Right? And saying sorry. So I want to talk about the 3 cents issue. Like when we took over this building, there's always going to be issues. Different people have different takes on different notices and so on and so forth. Well,
At the start of 2016, 4 years ago, I literally was a ghost on social media. Back in 2016, no one knew who I was. No one other than maybe my parents and best friends knew I was a real estate investor.
In my real estate business now, I legit only sell on social media. I do not sell anything else. I don't care about a sign. I don't print off any pieces of paper and hand it to you. Only social media. I've built my entire real estate agent business off social media.
Over the course of one single Instagram live video where I was walking through a property, I was actually able to raise $80,000.
Today, 4,000 to 5,000 people watch me every single day on YouTube. 1,000 people will watch my stories on Instagram. Over 500 will watch my stories on Facebook. I just envision that as, how could I possibly talk to 5,000 people a day one-on-one?
People lend me money for my real estate investments. If you didn't know, myself and Matt McKeever are in the apartment buying business right now, and we're buying a lot of units. So people lend us money for renovations, for deposits, and we pay interest on that. And I often share the interest payments on Instagram, which leads to more people reaching out to me wondering how they can get involved. And because of that, I was able to raise almost $1 million within the last 90 days.
Basically taking this business from zero to now we've done over $1.4 million in sales this year, and it's all been through social media. I've been actually able to attract all 6 of my top performing wholesalers and my back of house staff through social media, okay? All of it has been done through there and by showing the process.
The printing press, tele and radio communications, the internet, and then social media. These are the 4 big media revolutions that just changed the game as we know it. And right now, I'm in a giant land grab to try and get my hands on as much of the social media attention world as possible.
If you guys are not on social media, you have to do it. I don't care if you're a restaurant, you're an insurance agent, you're a real estate agent, you need to be on social media. It's the easiest way to branch out and talk to so many people.
If there was only one thing I could tell you guys, the one thing I would tell you is start today. Okay, yesterday was the best time to start. In fact, when you first even thought about your business idea, that was the best time to start. But the next best time is right now. If you start posting and start publishing your story today, I guarantee you, you will have results from social media so long as you stay consistent. So come and get your social proof.
I want to talk about the 3 cents issue. Like when we took over this building, there's always going to be issues. Different people have different takes on different notices and so on and so forth. Well, we've been doing the proper notices all the time. So in Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, we send out these N4s. It's just a non-payment of rent. And then whatever the situation is, that the following month they say, hey, I'm going to pay it the extra $17 because we have a regular increase, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a normal, you know, we'll pay it and all that. Usually we don't have that, sort of the quote unquote like bad negative review or backlash or things like that. I understand that we should always, this is good because now the public understands what we as a landlord, tenants see it differently, and it opens up dialogue, which you want, right? I don't see this as bad publicity. I see this as, because we didn't do it, my daughter, my second year, my number 2 of 4, Courtney, she goes, because I numbered my kids now, she goes, Daddy, did you do something wrong? Like, you're in the newspaper. And I go, no, Courtney, we didn't do anything wrong. Mm-hmm. We're actually using the proper documents. This is an N4 non-payment of rent. So I told actually my administrator, her name is Ayan, she's Somalian, great lady, hardworking lady. She'll send it out. These forms, I didn't tell her specifically if there's a dollar value. If it's in balance, there's a balance owing, we send it out. And those, she actually did follow my instructions to the T. But that's what it is that there's no sort of, you know, 2 cents, 5 cents or whatever. No, I'm not gonna send it out $1. The thing is that it seems immaterial to most, let's say $1, but let's say Cap REIT has 80,000 units, okay? Yeah. 80,000 at $1, that's $80,000 per month that they're not collecting, right? That becomes very material, $80,000, right? I could retire from 80,000. So when it comes down to it is that we as operators, we follow the proper procedure, okay? So these are the regular forms, the N4s, the L1s, and those are the forms, those are the days that we have to send it out, we send it out. Now, what we changed here is that we're gonna follow up with a phone call now, okay? Say, hey, you know, you're short 3 cents or 5 cents or whatever. Did you wanna put it on to the next rent? Like next rent payment. So let's say it was a January 1st, they got that. It's very normal for January 1st because we always send it out and we always get late payments for January 1st, right? Then February 1st, it comes along and put it on that. So we're gonna call them first. And actually Mandy Brennan quickly caught that, right? Because I was at this meetup and she goes, you know what, I'm gonna say that to my staff now, okay? So I wanna put her and say, hey, Mandy Brennan, she actually says that I'm gonna use this as a learning experience. And a lot of other landlords, they actually laughed at me. He goes, hey, yo, 3 cents, Kasey, 3 cents. I'm like, yo, like, you should know that. As a landlord, you should follow the proper procedures, right? I can't say it's 50 cents or $1. Unfortunately, I have to send this out, but now we're going to follow up with phone calls. We actually had, after this whole sort of press, we actually had, we call it a town hall meeting. It's a tenant and landlord meeting. The standard, the St. Catharines Standard came, the reporter, his name is Alan Benner, he came in and he said that this is actually amazing because no other landlord or property manager came in and explained their situation, wanting to get feedback from the tenants. So we actually got good feedback from them. They understand our situation. So it really is a win-win. So we had that dialogue with the tenants and we opened up discussions. There was obviously 1 or 2 people that was, quite irate, saying that, we're out to force people out. I have never forced anybody out. I told this to Matt before, and I said this to the Well Off podcast with George. I said, I only paid off one person who was actually being evicted, and I paid that person out because I'd rather they have the money in a way that I was going to the hearing anyways, and they were out or non-payment of rent for about $3,000 or $2,000 or something like that. And I said, you know what? It's going to probably take me about a couple months to get you out anyway, so I'll do cash for keys. And I said that I'm out because they said that you're going to stay until the sheriff comes. I said, here's the 2 months. Why don't you leave now? Because either I lose the 2 months or I give it to you. That's the only time I've ever done that. And I said it again. My whole model is never to push people out. We are following the forms from the government, and that's all it is, the N4s, the L1s. And then if need be, it's like I may do cash for keys if that person is willing to leave on their own, and she actually cleaned up and said, I'm sorry, because she actually, her spouse lost his job, and I actually knew the owner of the snowplow company, because he actually snowplowed my other buildings, and he was actually a counselor at Waterloo. So it's a small world here. So I hired somebody. He kind of stiffed me. He lost his job. I knew the former landscaper, and then I met him back as a counselor in Waterloo. So it's like, you always work with people. I'm trying to work with people. Some people take me, as being very harsh or whatever. I don't, I do apologize for people, if they take me very harsh, I don't mean to. I have that effect on women. I don't know why. But when it comes down to it, it's like we do have, so tenants here understand that we are just going through the proper procedure. These are the Landlord Tenant Board, which is provincial guidelines that we have to follow their guidelines. I can't write a sticky note and saying that you owe me 3 cents or 10 cents or whatever, right? It's not gonna fly that way. I have to write on the proper procedure. But now again, the procedure is this, that we're gonna follow up with a phone call, say, hey, you are a little bit short. Do you mind paying this in the next month? Or if you pay us now, then it just becomes null and void, okay? I'm sure everybody does this, and it really is computer generated. People ask me this all the time. He goes, is it really computer generated, Kasey? Right? And I go, yes, it is, because we actually use Yardi. I've mentioned that before. In one of my first videos, we actually use Yardi. Okay, a lot of property management companies use that. It pulls the balance that's owing on Yardi, and it just drops it into the forms, and then we just print it off. And I actually didn't see the forms, the notices, and then my administrator just either mails it out or hands it out or drops it in the mailbox. And when I drop it, I don't see the amount sometimes. I actually, because I'm in and out, I'm like, I have to be efficient. So I'm like, bang, 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 drop it in the mailbox, and I leave. I actually didn't go through each one. It's difficult. If you have 80,000, I wish I had 80,000 units, but you can't sit there and say 80,000, like, is it okay? Is it okay? We only have 250, but 250, I need to get that done at that specific time because the dates are on that form. And then when I'm here, I actually drop it in their mailbox. The reason being, again, even when we give it to them, I had tenants say that I didn't receive it. Right? So they have to sign an affidavit. It's a certificate of service, and you go to the tribunal saying that I did provide that. And some people will still say that I didn't receive it, I didn't get the L1s, or L1s is actually now mailed out from the tribunal. But the N4, you do it. You either mail it out, you have to usually give 5 days extra, because if you're mailing it out, we don't usually do that. Now I just drop it in because it has so many incidents. Honestly, tenants didn't receive it or whatever, let's benefit a doubt to them, but I actually did drop it in the mailbox. They say they didn't receive it. So when I'm to the T, I look at the time, I have 5 buildings that have to drop N4s out on one day. I'm there in and out, right? So property managers, like I love doing this. I like to be, getting my hands dirty, but I'm to the T. I have to make sure I manage my time properly because I have to go pick up the kids, right? But yeah, when it comes down to knowing your forms, knowing all of this, the N4s, the 3 cents or things like that, I think it is blown over, but it's great dialogue, great discussion. It opens up this whole tenant landlord issue that we have to work together to reach that common goal, because we're in the business. I said this before, is that I'm not investing off, I could have been working in the Ivory Tower, downtown Bay Street, sitting in a nice little cubicle, and then answering phone calls or whatever, and maximizing my foreign content, investing in the FTSE 100, Hang Seng, right? You know, the Nikkei, like, I could easily be doing that, right? But now I'm actually investing. All landlords here are investing back in their community, okay? So let's not give the landlords a bad rap. They're actually putting money back into the community, putting money back into the building itself, and increasing the livability of buildings, right? So I'm trying my hardest, okay, to be a good quote-unquote landlord, okay? It's bad, like, but we're putting money back into our country, back into our cities, okay? And I'm not investing. I can easily maximize my foreign content in my RSPs. I can easily invest in the S&P 500, the Dow, things like that, because those are bigger markets, maybe better returns, but I'm actually investing here, back into our country. You're investing in London. I'm investing in St. Catharines, Kitchener-Waterloo, Cambridge. All these places that we put money back into these communities, into these older buildings, and bring them up. We do have to make money, because a lot of these buildings don't make money at the get-go. 2 years, I expect nothing in return. Even for my investors, I tell them there's no return, right? I don't give them a return for two years. Yes, it does make money, because over time there is that turnover and there is that potential rent, that rent goes up. I've talked about that, but at the get-go, it doesn't make any money. I don't promise anything to anybody saying that, oh, we're going to make a ton loads of money. Yes, in the future it does. This business does make money, but I'd rather do this still, buy in a place, invest in our community, than open up a McDonald's, okay? I was gonna open up a McDonald's. Everybody's happy with a Happy Meal, okay? Trust me. Everybody wants, like, those high returns. Opening a McDonald's is easier, okay? Selling Happy Meals, every kid is happy, right? But I'm doing this and I still get, the bad rap for it. But look at this as something to learn. Like Manny Brennan, we learn from this. This is something that we're going to take from this and increase our knowledge and do things properly, because open discussion is great. So here's a unit in St. Catharines. Here's an unrenovated unit. It's a 1-bedroom. The floors look fairly decent, but we're probably going to change it out. These are vinyl floors that the previous owner, probably the previous owner did. So what we normally do for this type of unit in St. Catharines, we're going to knock this out. This is a non-load bearing wall. So we're going to open this up. Put a island here. It's just going to be a regular Formica countertop, but it just opens up the space. So now you have, come on over. It's a decent sized kitchen in a way that it's a 1-bedroom in St. Catharines. There's nothing wrong with it. In Cambridge, we can't open it up because it's the layout. We'll change these are the fuse boxes for electrical, which changes to breakers. Get this all out, change the cabinetry, change the countertops, and redo the floors. So this will get all gutted, and we'll put stainless steel appliances. So cost-wise, it will probably be about 12 to about 15,000. The rents before, they're about 800. The old rents were about 800, and we'll probably jump this up to about 1225. What this means is that it's about it's a $400 increase in rent. Times that by, this is going to probably be a 3-year payback. It depends on the market. So if we can command the 1225, we try to do that. And we are sort of renovating a little bit higher than normal, normally like a 2-year payback, but again, this market's changing. The renovation cost is a little bit higher, opening up the walls, or breaking down the walls and opening up the space. Come on over. We're gonna get this repainted. The paint is it's okay, but we don't know if once we start taking off the floors or anything like that, sometimes we may have to touch up some of the paint. Wash them as well. Quite easy in a way that what we normally do, this is newer, we'll probably keep this. So the vanity, the vanity, the sink, the mirrors we're going to keep. Sometimes we save on the tub. We would actually reglaze this, okay? And it's about $400 to reglaze a tub. Toilet's fine. I actually don't like these one piece. I normally like the just to do it properly with the tile, just to redo this tub surround. Normally it's about $900 to redo a tub surround. To reglaze is about $400. To rip it out, sometimes it's going to be definitely a little bit more. A tub isn't expensive, but it's just the plumbing work, it's the labor and all that, and it could be up to probably about $600 with all in, maybe $500 or $600, but just to reglaze is about $400. Okay, it is expensive to reglaze. Tub is probably what, $250, but just to get the labor in there and just to redo everything, sometimes if we can salvage it, we try to do that. But again, the floors will get redone to vinyl floor, and any of the painting as well that we would do. Let's walk over to the bedroom. We'll just walk over here. So here's the one bedroom with the closet. What we normally do is that if the doors on the closet is good, sometimes we'll keep it, or sometimes we'll put the mirrored doors as well, just so that it looks a lot nicer and people will keep it up. So a lot of times these are damaged or whatever, but if it's a mirrored one, it looks a little bit nicer, and the tenants will keep it, keep it up and use that as a mirror to, after getting dressed, they want to see themselves. We talked about the windows. Windows are expensive to do. If you can keep the windows, there's two panes here. They're older, so these are probably these are probably when it was built, these windows. Now, can I change these windows? Of course I can change it, but it doesn't add any more value to it. So if I can keep it, I'll keep it as long as I can. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not frosting or anything like that. We're in the dead of winter right now. We're February, mid-Feb, and it's about -9 outside. So the windows look pretty good. We just have to manage and maintain it properly. I recaulked it from the outside, so I had a boom outside, redid everything, and it's nice and clean and nice and neat. So if you can, keep it as long as you can. It's quite expensive to redo the windows, so if you can, you may have to raise money for it. If it's in the price of the building, as in you purchase it pretty low because of older windows, that's great. If you're buying it high, understand that you may have to raise money for this, and the windows will dilute your returns in a way that you're raising more money and putting money back into the units. So be cognizant of what you're doing. Windows are expensive. And usually I'll do it on a one-off type of deal, is that when I do need to change the windows, I'm only doing it when there's a turnover, okay? Let's come over here to the balconies.
What's up guys, Matt here. Have you ever wanted to do wholesaling? Have you ever wanted to go all in on real estate investing? Well, I've heard your demands from the comment section on my YouTube video, and we're looking to hire more people to join our team. Now, this is going to be a unique opportunity. You're going to need to fit outside of the traditional mold, but if you're willing to go all in on real estate investing, learn everything and do everything necessary to become a successful wholesaler, and you're willing to move to London, Ontario, and move into one of the mansions with me, well, let's do it. So we've got a process for you guys to be able to join our team of wholesalers. Right now, I have 7 full-time wholesalers working for me in Southwestern Ontario, but we actually want to grow the team even more. A lot more, in fact. But the requirements are you need to be willing to go all in. So no other jobs, no side hustles, no other personal commitments. You just need to be laser-like focused on real estate and learning and personal development, because that's what this mansion's all about. In addition, you need to be willing to move to London, Ontario. I don't care where you currently live, but you need to be willing to move to London, Ontario. You need to be eligible to work in Ontario, all that good stuff. But otherwise, That's pretty much it. We're just looking for really dedicated, really hungry individuals that want to join our team. If you want to apply, send us an email, clickwholesaling@gmail.com. You're probably going to spell click wrong, so we're throwing it up here on the screen. We'll also have a link in the video description down below. But this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, guys. You've seen the evolution of Adam Martin from my team over the years. He joined us back in 2018, and he knew nothing about real estate investing. He'd never made an offer, never bought real estate, never made a dollar off of real estate, and today he's absolutely crushing it. I know there's a lot of people that aspire to be the next Adam Martin. As well, you've seen the evolution of Mike and Shahir from my team and how they've grown as individuals and wholesalers as well. In fact, we've even got a whole new crop of wholesalers that you really haven't seen yet on the YouTube channel, but they'll be coming soon to a video on your newsfeed. But beyond that, we need more wholesalers. This is really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If you're serious about going all in on wholesaling real estate, I need you to join my team. Click the link down below, send us an email, and I look forward to chatting.
Let's come over here to the balconies. So this is the open area. It's a nice flowing unit. Windows actually have the window stops. I had to follow what the engineers wrote. So let me explain this. Let me talk about the balconies, and then we'll explain what engineers talk about and what finance companies talk about. So I talked about recaulking the windows. So these windows are recaulked and it's nice and sealed from the outside. Okay, so we did that. This flooring, this decking of the balcony was repainted. So we swept it, cleaned it, and recaulked anything that needs to be done, and put elastomeric paint on the top part of the balcony. I'll put this little inch on the balcony top because it didn't meet code. That 2 or 3 millimeters didn't meet, so I put an extra one here. Some of these ones I actually put an extra, we call it a picket or a spindle. So I put an extra one right here because I'm actually 2 or 3 millimeters short. It's supposed to be 100 mils max. So it didn't meet code. I redid that and repainted it. And so I had to weld, and then put these up as well. So it's a safety issue. That doesn't meet code, so it's necessary to do. So let's go inside because it's quite cold. Now, when you're doing a walkthrough with a professional engineer, the P-Eng, they're gonna give you this list of a whole bunch of work to do. And you're like, oh my goodness, it's $180,000. Now $180,000 worth of work. They held back. So this finance company, Timber Creek, held $180,000. So I have to have a meeting now. We're in February now, we're 6 months into it. What am I gonna do is that I have to explain to them, because engineers and finance companies, sometimes they don't meet eye to eye. And we as property owners, we're right stuck in the middle because they don't wanna give us the money, but we have to get the work done. Engineers say it doesn't meet code because it's 2 or 3 centimeters, or 2 or 3 millimeters. So it's literally that much. Listen, it's just a balcony, right? But if it doesn't meet code, it doesn't meet code. I have to actually get that done. I spent about, I believe it was about $14,000, not including the boom, okay? It's like a skyjack or a scissor lift, something I get my workers up and they can actually weld and paint and do all that. So I have to get this work done. Engineers say it doesn't meet code. I'm talking to the bank that they don't want to fund me, give me the $190,000, and they're holding that money back. So Timber Creek is holding that back, and I'm trying to explain to them, you know what? It's an older building. It's a 1960s or 70s built. Not a lot of deferred maintenance, but it doesn't meet the building code of today's standard of 2020. And what this means is that codes change, right? This building is not going to fall apart, but you have to understand that Royal Bank actually held a mortgage on this before all this as well, right? So another bank, a larger bank, is willing to fund the previous owner. Now I bought this and I'm doing a whole bunch of upgrades, about $80,000 worth of upgrades now, and now you're not willing to give me the $190,000 that you're holding from me. So I've done a lot. I'm gonna go back and meet with Timber Creek and say, you know what? A lot of these things I've done is substantial. I actually even called the fire department on myself, okay? It's unheard of in sort of the property management owner, landlord type of thing, is that usually tenants will call the fire department on the landlord, right? And say that, oh my goodness, it doesn't meet code. You don't have extinguishers. You didn't do an annual fire inspection, things like that. But I did it on myself, and I asked the fire department, "Can you tell me what is wrong with this building?" And then I labeled it, and then obviously the St. Catharines Fire Department said, "No, I can't tell you specifically. It just passed." Right? It's a pass or fail. I passed. But I go back to the engineer and goes, "I passed." And then goes, "No, you need a makeup air unit." Okay, I talked about this before. On OBC, my engineer is saying that I need some type of system where it's going to push all the air back into the units. Well, for me to do that, it's going to be about $100,000. And when I called these companies to put it in, it was unbelievable. He goes, "What are you doing? It's a 1960s build." It's like, you're gonna actually have to re-shore up your roof, because this is you're putting in a unit, a makeup air unit. You need heating, because now I'm pushing air in. It has to be cool as well during the summertime. You can't be pushing in hot air and cold air in the wintertime and hot air in the summertime. So it has to be either cooled. So now I need a chiller, and now I need a heater. Like, what? It's crazy. So that means I have to go back to my finance company, to Timber Creek, and explain to them what is happening. Engineer wants this, it doesn't comply with building code, or it doesn't meet their standards as a finance company. So we're in the middle as property owners, as property managers, landlords. We have to explain, because we have many hats. We have to explain to them, hey, what are we doing? How do you renovate, and how do you upgrade this building to the standards that it makes everybody happy, right? So we have to understand a little bit of everything, okay? I still like this, like I actually like dealing with the building part, but we have to understand these. If we don't understand it, you have to learn quick, and talk to the right people, your engineers, your finance company, and we're gonna talk to them to see what we can do, because it doesn't make sense for us to rebuild a balcony, to, again, redo the ventilation systems on the roof, put in whatever, to balconies, to the staircases, all of this, rechange every single door, because it doesn't meet code. It did meet code before, but we're not able to change everything everywhere in all these buildings all across the country, okay? So this is the before, and then we'll see the after as well. Okay. So as you can tell, this is the after now. So again, all we're doing is that we're opening this up, create this little bulkhead, and having some pot lights. This is very, very reasonable, and price-wise, I'm looking at about $175 a linear foot, right? So whatever this is, right? I'll just multiply this out. Let's say $200 in total, right? Times this by 4 feet, $800. Stainless steel fridge. Again, cabinetry, stainless steel range, and a stove. So something very, very easy to do. Nothing major, okay? New floors, we always put vinyl. I actually like the glue down. The reason being is that you can do whatever you want. You can do the clip or the glue down. The glue down is, for me, I prefer the glue down just for the fact that if something is damaged, there's no cutting. Basically, you just get a heat gun, you heat it up. My contractor will heat it up, take it out, drop the new one in, right? Put the glue and just drop it in. Very, very simple, right? So my preference is the glue down. Hey, if you're a contractor that likes the clips, do it, right? Do the clips. Again, we might change this to the mirrored ones. Here is the new tub surround, and the vanity. Again, simple, nothing too complicated. New doors. This is an older door, and this is a newer door. We try to salvage as much as we can. We try to change our doorknob. So this is we'll get this changed to lever style. I finish on that. Then I just have to get a metal company to redo these are just the heaters. These are the rads. So these are hot water. So I have to call a company just to redo this, and just to cover all of this. So it has to be metal. So I'll call my metal company, a sheet metal company, just to do that, and just before somebody moves in. So These are just hot water. So we talked about that. Very, very simple. It's just, we have a heating boiler system to heat the water that runs through the rads. Transferring water throughout the whole building. A 40-unit building is going to be like a water transfer. It's going to be a heating boiler. You have your domestic hot water for your shower and your sink and things like that. So it's not really too complicated. And then you just have your electrical panels in your boiler room. So nothing complicated in a 40-unit building. It's almost like exactly the same thing as a house. Instead of a forced air furnace, you have a heating boiler that just transfers the water, because transferring water from one end to another end of a building is very efficient, right? You transfer hot air from one building to another, it's going to transfer smells, odors, things like that. And then by the time it gets from unit 1 to unit 40, it's cold, right? So all buildings have a hot water boiler system, and before you do the winterization of it, before you turn it on, you get your mechanical contractor to come in and service your boiler, right? Very, very simple. Again, windows, we talked about, and then we just cover this up, and then the floors are done, and it's in rentable condition, right? Again, all these things are very doable, it's very simple. Nothing complicated. I'm not changing the structure of the building. All I'm doing is just some of the kitchens, some of the bathrooms, fixtures and everything is all the same. I'm not changing any of the plumbing, okay? So wherever the sink is the sink, so I don't have to pull a permit or anything like that. The bathroom, same thing. I'm not, if I don't have to, I'm not gonna be pulling out the tub or anything. If I can reglaze it. If need be, I have to change that tub, I'm gonna change it, okay? Toilet, same thing. So I don't need to pull permit. It's not, I could do it. I find it a big hassle to start moving things around, changing a 3-bedroom to a 2-bedroom or two 1-bedrooms. It's difficult. It's a lot of work. But to each their own. If you're comfortable doing that, if you're comfortable duplexing it and that's your strategy, do it. Okay, I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm telling you to do what you're good at. But if you're in a building like this and it's just a stabilization, it's the buy it, renovate it, stabilize it over the 2 years, and cash flow after the 5 years. It's a very, very simple business. Don't complicate things. This business is very, very simple. Execution is hard. Get the execution done properly and do it in a timely fashion. And you'll reap the benefits. Both on the tenant side, the tenant will appreciate that, and you'll benefit with your investors on the return.
What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here. And have you ever said anything mean about Kasey Wong in one of my comments? Because today, Kasey Wong is going to respond to some comments, and this is just going to be a lot of fun for me. So I really enjoy these sort of videos. If you guys are enjoying these sort of videos with Kasey, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. But I think it really is, at this point in time, because Kasey's been on my YouTube channel so long, it's cool that we can go back to a couple years ago now, read comments from people that said Kasey was going to lose everything in a year and check back in 1 year. Well, guess what? We actually did check back, Steven. And in fact, somehow Kasey even remembered your name. And because Kasey remembered your name, I now remember your name. And now thousands of people are going to remember your name and your dickish attitude towards us. So let's just dive into today's video. What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here with Kasey Wong, and in today's videos we're going to dive into the comment section, both on some videos as well as maybe some newspaper articles. We're really just going to kind of break down and share our perspective and respond to some of the crazy comments that get left on Kasey videos. Okay. So you got a few here, Kasey?
I got a few here. So, okay, let me go back to this guy, Steve Patterson. Like, this is a long time ago. I think it was a couple years ago,
yeah.
Okay? He mentioned, congratulations, you just lost like $500,000 on the market value to make $27,000 a month. Wait till you refi at 11% in 3 years and you're bankrupt. Good work. So listen, Steve, like, come on. I'm not investing in he's a day trader, okay? But the thing is that this is 2 years ago. So 11%, and this is my student rental, is that I told you guys this, is that I fixed my rate for 10 years with CMHC, and I did this with, I still don't remember the name, I think it's MPAC or MCAP or so, whatever, right? So I fixed this rate at some absurd level of 3.something%, 3.3 or something percent. And you have to understand that Where's the 11% anyways? Like this hyperinflation. So let me read a little bit more. It's at KW. Real estate just took a 6% hit, and it's about to drop another 24% in 2 years. So your net loss will be about $3 million in resale value. Yo, dude, that's crazy. When the Canadian dollar goes hyperinflation in the next 3 years, and the USD bubbles, interest rates will shoot up to past 10% again. I make my living, this is nice, I make my living predicting currency and business values and Fed movements. Dude, Steve Patterson, you've done something completely wrong. Check back in a year on this post and let's talk. Yo, dude, I'm talking to you right now. But you gotta understand, people will be wrong, okay? He's definitely wrong, okay? I'm not gonna say anything about this, right? He's definitely dead wrong, Steve Patterson. So he makes his life, his prediction, his bread on the table on predicting currency, inflation, Fed movements, things like that. This is a long-term game. Real estate is a business over the long term. It's, yeah, we'll make money, I'll make money for my investors, for myself, yes, I do make money, but you gotta understand that he's gambling.
Yeah.
Like,
well, even just the way the comment's written, you can tell there's emotion there, right? Like, congratulations, you just lost millions of dollars. Like, if I knew someone that was, say, like trading Tesla shorts and all of a sudden they got, you know, called upon and they lost a bunch of money, I wouldn't be like, haha, I told you. Like, there's something about that mentality where once someone's commenting on the internet, that anonymous factor just kind of plays up. And they just kind of, you know, it magnifies, I guess, the aggression or kind of the emotion behind the comment.
Right. So I took a lot of these screenshots from Steve Patterson, but I don't want to say, hey, yo, Steve, you're a dum-dum or anything like that. Like, I say that to myself, to my kids a lot. Like, hey, Daddy's a dum-dum. Because you know what, you learn from it. You take a look at the whole situation, and hey, if you're a good trader, or if you're a good gambler, great, go do it. But this business has more to it than just flipping a stock, pressing a button, right? I'm actually in people's lives. So I have a lot more stake in it for everybody, for tenants, for my contractors that I have to hire, for my staff that have to put bread on their table to make sure that they have something to eat at the end of the day, right? So yes, like if he's good at this, go do it. But I'm never gonna say that, hey, yo, like, I don't want to always paint a bad picture on other people and how they make money. If he's good at doing this, if he's trading stocks, that's great, good for him, okay? I honestly think that this honestly is a better business because I am building this community, okay?
Well, and another thing I really like about the real estate business versus, say, day trading stocks is the fact that we have a lot more control over it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things I can do with a property where realistically that stock is just a piece of paper, and unless someone's willing to pay me more for that piece of paper, I can't really do much else.
Yeah.
Where, again, with real estate, we can repurpose it, we can pivot our business model, we can potentially like do a vendor take back on the sale of the property. There's a lot of more levers, I guess, that we can pull and push in order to, you know, make that investment stabilized or get back the returns we were originally looking for. But I guess building upon kind of that idea, I know a lot of beginner investors constantly hear from friends and family that don't necessarily invest in real estate that interest rates are going to go to the moon, wait until they get into the double digits, or alternatively that Canada's a bubble and the market's going to crash and you're going to lose everything. Do you mind just sharing with the audience, you know, how do you sleep at night? Like, why doesn't that scare you the way it scares, you know, the person that doesn't invest in real estate?
Right. It doesn't scare me because I'm invested in multifamily for number one, and I've invested a long time now. So some of my buildings, it's like on my 6th year. These are, and it's not like I'm over leveraged. I do have leverage, but I also have some cash as well. So just in case something goes wrong, if there's inflation, I'm able to still make those payments. Okay, so multifamily is still based on your cap rates, your cash flow. That's what they base it upon. I'm not going to sell this because my interest rates, I can cap it. Okay, so my parents said the same thing. What happens if interest rates go up? I can cap it, I can fix it for 10 years or whatever. It's like, I can definitely do that, okay? So you have to know what you're able to do and what you're able to control on the liability, on that risk side, okay? So again, would all of my tenants lose a job? all 40 of them, or all like 250, all tenants losing all their jobs all at once. They're in different industries. I'm in Kitchener-Waterloo, Cambridge. I have a student housing, okay, right across from Laurier. I have some blue-collar buildings. I like to call them blue-collar. My tenants are working. They work for automotive companies. I have somebody who's a nurse. I have salespeople, financial working for the bank. So they're all over the place. That's being diversified in a way that my tenant selection is already diversified. I have people on ODSP, on OW, right? The government funding, and they have side jobs that they do. So taking a look at, would my whole economy drop? No, it won't, okay? Will interest rates go up? Yeah, it could trickle up. We're actually in a market that the interest rates are coming down, okay? So I'm not talking about I'm not even talking about rising interest rates. Hyperinflation is even off the table. I'm just talking about interest rates going down. So I can cap that at a lower rate. But what this means is that my rent increases will be lower. So I have rent increases on a regular basis, on a yearly, annual basis, or anniversary move-ins. I have that I'm going to increase. But you have to tell your family, your friends that say that, okay, interest rates can be mitigated, okay? Industry-wide is not going to be completely lost. Like, I'm not investing in whatever, in this small little city that only has 500 people, and that it's a one industry town, right? And that industry takes off, okay? So we're not doing that. We're investing in, it's actually a very stable city with hundreds of thousands of people, with industries across from different industries and different businesses across the board, okay? So when you explain that situation to these people, you have to tell them what you're doing, because they just don't understand it. And ignorance you just have to explain to them, and then now they can understand that situation. They'll probably tell you after 5 or 10 years, once you've done it, you stabilize your business, your buildings, they'll come back to you and say, hey, how's it going? And they'll start talking, okay? Let them lead the discussion, and then you'll tell them what you have done to mitigate your risk.
Love it. Do you got another comment that you wanted to?
This is just some random stuff. I was just looking the other day, the night. It's like, it's kind of disgusting to hear them say that it's beautiful or perfect when they're talking about exploiting people to the max, and then owning a building part of a portfolio. Yeah, right. What kind of artist is that? No, portfolio, there's two meanings to portfolio. It's not just an artist, but it's a portfolio of investments, right? So this person has to understand that, like, portfolio means just go look it up. Like, portfolio could be artists, or it could be a portfolio of investments, okay? So I use this word obtuse, right?
Yeah.
Like, kind of bad, right? But I said to my little daughter, I go, hey, like, she had this word, it's like obtuse, right? It's like, do you know the meaning of that? Yeah, it's an angle. It's between 90 and 180. Oh, no, there's another meaning as well. What's the meaning for obtuse?
Yeah, it's like you can't see through it, or it's like purposely not understanding.
Exactly, not understanding, short-sighted. So you have to understand that she's short-sighted in her views, okay? Being obtuse. But not everybody's going to understand where a portfolio comes. Like, we are buying a portfolio of buildings. Basically, it's a business, right? And we're trying to add value to it, increase the rent, but increase the livability of units of buildings, okay? And this is our business. If I don't do it, somebody else will, okay? So I'm being open to all of this. So that's one comment. Now, there's people that will be out there, these are tenants, okay, that they can see that, oh, landlords have money, okay, and I'm going to come after you, all right? So I said this to Matt, this person named Haley Dam, I actually invited her, okay, to be on YouTube with me. She's a tenant that there was some deferred maintenance in her unit that wasn't dealt with properly, and that was my fault. But I said, let me get this done. And then her father, this is in my Lother building, okay? So I'll send you guys the picture of this person, right? Haley Dam. And I said, let me get this work done. And then she actually said, the father says, no, I don't want you to do it. The reason being is that he didn't want to move the furniture from one unit to the from one bedroom to the other, and because I was going to change all the floors, change the faucet and stuff like that, because there was a leak in their unit and it actually caused, it was a moldy mess, right? And I said, let me get this done. And then the father canceled on me. I said, okay, well, I'm going to cancel because you guys canceled on me. So my contractors moved to the other unit, and then she actually got the property standards on me, and then it took me to court for $12,000, if you could believe that. So we went to mediation. I went this is in the Cambridge area, so Andrew was the mediator, and then he looked at me and he shook my head and he goes, see, people call me all the time. And he goes, you know, goes to the tenant, goes, this is probably like the most that anybody has ever asked, and it's really outrageous. And he said that to her and goes, I value this at probably about $180. And then I said, you know what, fine. I'll pay the. I shouldn't have said it so quickly because it made her. I think it made her feel bad, right? I said, no, I should have said, yeah. Let me think about it. $180, like. But yeah, I quickly said fine, right? And I think she got peeved on that, and whatever. I wrote her the $180, and I also said to Andrew, I go, I will pay for the hearing. It's $190. I'll pay for that, right? So I paid $180 plus $190. I was like, you know, I'll pay for all this cost, right? So I write her a check for $370. I was like, done. Then she comes back and then she's on Reddit. So she and her boyfriend went on Reddit and gives me a bad report and bad review and all this. But behind the story of these bad reviews, she wanted to gouge me, quote unquote gouge, of $12,000. So she got $370 out of it, or $180. And then she has, quote unquote, the audacity to come back and say, hey, yo, Kasey, can I get parking now? I'm like, what? What? So she comes back and says, oh, like I already asked my administrators. I have all these documents. I like to save these for whatever reason. I saved on my phone, and then I actually printed these off. And then she goes, I want parking. I'm like, no, you already have parking in your lease, one parking spot. And then she goes, I want one for me and my boyfriend. That you guys are giving me these bad reviews, and then now you're coming to ask for favors? I go, no, like we don't have enough parking space, right? And if it is, right, it's $100, right, each, right? Because we don't. Yeah. It actually costs me money because I still have to get a snow removal company. I still have to salt, and you don't understand how much salt we use. So it comes down to this Haley Dam. It's like you have to understand that. Listen, you come and try to, I don't know what's the word, is like go to court for $12,000, okay? You get $180 from it, and they come to me, have the audacity to say, I want parking now. Okay, so these are the people that you have to watch. Like tenants, you have to be careful. You have to document everything too. This person is actually, I know her father. Like we spoke Chinese together. My broken Cantonese, and I spoke his Vietnamese Cantonese, and I spoke to him, right? So we had this nice little, talk. We had a good relationship, and then her father doesn't actually want all this to happen, but her and her boyfriend want this, right? You can read it on these Reddit, and you can. I would like to, if you're going to badmouth people, expose the whole situation. Let everybody know the whole situation and tell them, because I like to be sort of, transparent in what I do. Is that, yes, I didn't do it quickly, but you guys canceled on me. I have this, I actually showed it to Andrew, the mediator, and then I was going to get the work done. I couldn't get the work done, and then the minor thing of this is that the smallest thing is that even with the screen, okay, the window screen was broken. It was actually, letting little fruit flies in. We were actually in the dead of winter. She still wanted it done. You know what? If it's written on the property standards, I have to get it done, even if it's the dead of winter. In December, I was actually on vacation with my family in Florida on a cruise, and then I'm like dealing with, hey, get the screen done, because I'm gonna pay for it, right? So when bottom line comes, you have to. You as a landlord, you as a business owner, you have to know what the laws are, the bylaws, and what types of consequences could happen. Because if even a screen in December where it's freezing cold, if that is not done, they can put an order on you. The city can put an order on you, get the work done, and charge you for that labor. Okay, so she wanted me to get that done, and then hey, it's like once everything is done, then she wanted parking, right? So document everything. Make sure that you cross your T's, dot your I's, and you have to be aware that people may come after you.
Yeah, it's really important as a landlord that we be documenting the entire process. Again, like I recently had a tenant that wasn't happy with us, so they went into one of our buildings, stole all the fire extinguishers, and then called us and reported us to the city for not having the fire extinguishers. We keep a logbook. We also have a fire inspection company that comes in on the required basis, so they were able to be like, oh no, we were in and they definitely had fire extinguishers on this date. We had a logbook as well. But that's why it's so important, because sometimes people do get emotional and they lash out at us as landlords, because often, for whatever reason, landlords are often viewed as a different class of people than like just the average Joe. And so for like tenants and newspapers are more than willing to kind of, you know, bully landlords and really team up on landlords. It's unfortunate, but as landlords, it's really important that we're constantly protecting ourselves and keeping that top of mind by making sure we document everything. I encourage my property manager to do all communication through written, just so that we have a clearly laid out set of expectations, because again, so often when it's a telephone call, it turns into a he said, she said sort of situation. So we always like to try and follow up after a phone conversation with an email or text message, just being like, you know, based upon our conversation, this is my understanding of what we discussed.
That's right. Document everything. So when it comes down to if you go to court, at least you have that. Even if you talked about it, exactly what you said, put that in writing. So you will, it could happen, okay? I'm always sort of in court now, and actually the paralegals see me, and they see this familiar face, and the adjudicators and the mediators see that. So again, cross your T's, dot your I's, make sure everything's done properly.
Awesome. Love it.
All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, smash the like button, but also, reminder, this is part 4 of a 4-part series, so there's another 3 hours of amazing Kasey Wong content if you want to binge it. We'll throw up a playlist right here, but otherwise, we're looking to do other compilation videos of other guests on my channel. Jump in the comment section and let us know, who should we make a compilation video of next?